I'm making the case tonight that the media and the leftists and the media mafia has gone as far as they can, and they are starting to feel the pain. Three case studies that we have tonight, brother. First case study is Cobra Kai. It's a show that was on YouTube and was bought by Netflix, the Obama channel. And then the next case is Wonder Woman 1984, and the last case is Stargirl. But the general background, obviously, this is comics. But and if it was just about comics, it wouldn't be anything worthwhile in the larger sense. But these are all TV shows. They're culturally part of the drama that we see when we hear the media and the left trying to push their narrative of hate America and America last. When they push that agenda, all they're doing is, they're pushing away their consumers. So what's been going on in comics is comic market is destroyed. It's absolutely dead. It's not on life support. It is dead. The DC and Marvel have sufficiently killed their industry, and not because of COVID, brother. They have done it because they're woketopians. They're part of the woke nut jobs that we see on the left, where every single step that they take is an attempt to impact and hurt or damage the culture so that it falls into their favor. So here's the example. They've made several comics or we'll just start with the most obvious, Captain Marvel, where they shoehorned her in. They made her part of the MCU, and they violated a whole bunch of a canon and the way the comics is, but all it was just trying to appeal to a market. And when the fans said this movie sucks, they didn't turn around and say, well, what we would do, what normal people would do is, why does somebody say this is suck? No, they said, no, it doesn't suck. You suck. The fans are the ones who suck. You are the problem, not Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel, not the woke message that she's pushing. It's the fans that are the problem, and it completely misses the simple. And this is important. I mean, the fans of comic books and the movies and stuff, they're not people who are looking for some kind of message. They want to see good comic book stories, the ones that you grew up on, the ones that you read. And instead of giving us that, they gender swap these characters. They make them be, they change their gender, but they also change their race. It's delegitimizing the character. And this is why, because, and my point has always been, if you're a comic book writer or a comic book artist and you can't come up with a storyline and a new character that fits whatever gender you want, whatever race you want, if you can't do that, and instead you got to go in there and make Batman black, or make Batman a lesbian, the Batwoman lesbian. If you need to do all that, if you need to do that, then you are unimaginative. You are disrespecting the comic book industry, but you're also, more importantly, disrespecting that race or gender or whatever orientation. You're disrespecting all of it, because you are showing us that you can't be smart enough. You can't develop a character, and instead of stealing one character, imagine if. Stealing one character, what they do is they take it and they turn it into some kind of other gender. They're telling us that they're unoriginal. So that's, I want to point out that. Now I want to talk a minute about Netflix, because Netflix somehow, John, back in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s and the 40s, they used to have an authority that would censor a comic book or a TV show. They wouldn't allow it to be showed, as famously where they would have a husband and wife bedroom. It would have to have two beds. There wouldn't be one bed, like they weren't having sex or something like that. So that would be that's the famous one. Today, Netflix has censored and put out these garbage things. I'm surprised Netflix hasn't censored Cobra Kai, because Cobra Kai is a message of, we're not going to take the safe spaces. We're not going to, try to reason with the bullies. We're going to fight the bullies. We're going to push back against the bullies. It's in saying that you can't raise a kid. You can't raise a kid in all of these leftist ideas of, oh, let's be soft and gentle. Instead, no, you can talk softly, but you carry a big stick. That's the message that came out of Cobra Kai, is we're going to fight and we're going to stand up for ourselves instead of talking it out and trying to understand the opponent. Cobra Kai came out and said, we're going to fight. I don't know how it got past the Obama network, John. I'm just stunned that it made it. I got done watching 10 episodes of it, and I'm like,
I'm glad you were productive.
It was, listen, overall, I recommend it, even if it wasn't this message. It was a great 10 episodes. There was dry points, there was low points, there was, can we move on now? I got all that. It's 10 episodes. You got to have that. But overall, it was a very decent show. Now I want to talk about the most unproductive 2 hours and 20 minutes of my break was watching Wonder Woman 1984. Do yourself a favor. Don't watch it. Turn it off. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your effort. It's just not worth it. Because I made this analogy to you, or this this to you before, brother, when I sat there and I watched It's a Wonderful Life, and I've watched it, I don't know, 30, 40 times in my lifetime. I can't remember the number of times I watched it. It never gets old. I don't feel it's an over 2 hour long movie. I don't know if you know that. You don't realize it because it's such a good movie and you enjoy it. This movie, Wonder Woman 1984, is something like, it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long. You feel like it's 2 hours after the first half hour. You want it to end. And I had the scenes, but I'm not going to show you because, we're probably already going to get kicked off of YouTube because of their censorship, because of all the election stuff we're talking about. But I don't want to get kicked off for copyright.
Man, we forgot to talk about it as in because it was the Russians who did it, not the Democrats again.
Right. It's too late now anyway. But it was so bad. John, in an hour and 20 minutes into the movie, Wonder Woman had gotten dressed up in her uniform twice. And there is a scene in it. I had tipped to Neurotic for showing me this. There's a scene where there's this character, one of the bad guys, who's laying on the ground in this mall scene where he was, 1980s mall scene. He's laying down. He's sitting there going like this, and they forgot to CGI the lasso. So he's just laying there wiggling like this, and there's no lasso around him. Like it was so bad. It was bad from top to bottom, from graphics. The only, of course, we have Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot. She did a great job as Wonder Woman. Nothing wrong with her performance. It would have been nice to see her perform more. Because she is the one that the movie's named after, right? So it would have been nice to have seen her in action more. But perhaps the most big cringeworthy moment, and I'll end with this, brother, is and by the way, spoiler alert, I guess I should have said that a long time ago.
No Russians and no spoiler alert. We should self-pick ourselves off.
Self-censor. So there's this one scene where she wishes for she has Steve comes back. Steve comes back, and he's the love of her life, and played by Chris Pine. Not Chris Pine. I
hate that guy. Yeah, it's Chris Pine.
It's Chris Pine, yeah. So he comes back, and but it's a Quantum Leap style coming back. He assumes the body of an adult male who's, I'm glad it was an adult male, by the way, not a child, but because during as soon as she sees who it is and she realizes who it is, they get they're in a sack together. So she is
they have marital relations.
Wonder Woman is having sex with a strange man who is having marital relations with a man who is not her boyfriend, is actually assumed the body of a strange man. Now, John, flip it. If it was Superman, right? Say Superman, and there's Lois Lane inside the body of a woman, and he has sex with her. Has marital relations with her. What would be the cringe factor on that from the left? What would that have been? It would have been
Your point is
boycott, boycott, boycott.
because of a rape, right? But James, if
Yeah.
it was Superman today, it wouldn't be a man that he's having
It'd be-
marital relationship. I mean, a woman. It
True.
would be a man, and
It would
then
be Jimmy
it would be
Olsen.
okay.
It'd be Jimmy Olsen. That'd be who they'd
And
be
then
having
they'd be okay.
marital relations with is Jimmy Olsen.
And that's why it's so boring
The
and
black Jimmy
nihilistic.
Olsen, though, the black Jimmy Olsen from Supergirl.
Yeah, that's why it's so nihilistic and such a waste. Like you said, you can't come up with your own superhero. 8-Ball. I'm gonna call a guy 8-Ball. You know,
It's a great name for a superhero.
Bowler. Oh no, that's Bowler. The Bowler is in from that great movie. Remember the Bowler? Baby Bowler, your baby Bowler. Ben Stiller's movie with the knockoff, the shoveler, the knockoff superheroes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was right.
Yeah.
Come up with your own.
Yeah, and it's so
Mystery Men.
that is such a pathetic way of doing comics. And the reason why it's important is because this is a reflection culture. The comic books are a reflection on our culture. That what the left is trying to do, they're trying to subvert our children into these ideas and these beliefs.
Propaganda.
It's all it is propaganda, and it's bad propaganda because again, it's taking stories, altering the stories to fit their narrative instead of using the good stories. And the worst part of it is, John, when the fans, people like you and me who grew up on this stuff, reject it because it's bad, because it's just bad art. It's bad work. When we reject it, they don't turn around and try to be self-reflective like a good company. No, Disney and the rest, they tell us that we're the problem, and then they double down on their stupidity and they try to make it, they make something worse. It's the reason why Star Wars is trash. It's the reason why Doctor Who is trash. It's all across the industry that is happening. And we see the first time it's rebounding back in something like Stargirl, which I did mention, completely.
Yeah, what's Stargirl?
Stargirl is from the Justice Society of America. She's the daughter of not Stripes, the stepdaughter of Stripey, but can't remember the character's name, but she's the daughter of the Justice Society's members, and so she has this magic wand that helps her fly. It shoots stuff. That storyline was a conservative storyline where the bad guys were trying to take over the brains of everybody. Spoiler alert, by the way. They're trying to take over the brains, trying to take over everybody. I love the spoiler alert
after you said the spoiling thing.
Yeah. Force them to post
spoiler alert.
Believe in climate change, force them to believe in climate change, and a whole bunch of other leftist ideas. They built this big tower. They were going to force everyone to change, and they expected like 1/8 of the population to die because of this. They were going to go into their mind and change the way they were thinking. So they did. They were going to do this, and that's what the bad guys did, and the good guys stopped them. So it's like you can start to see there's a shift. The industry is dying, and they recognize that if they don't fix it, they're going to die too. They're going to be replaced. It's just a matter of time till somebody comes along who can do this too. I mean, we're not going to see movie theaters as prominent as we did. They're not going to die. Movie theaters are still going to exist, but they're not going to be the blockbuster moneymakers that you're going to see if you can produce it online, and you can figure out a way to get around YouTube and all the rest. You can make a lot of money if you got conservative ideas, conservative storylines, and the money to produce something. You'll see a dramatic change. That's what we need. We got to start making movies as conservatives, making shows as conservatives, and that's why, John, no matter what happens on January 20th, we need Trump TV.
Trump TV.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Trump TV.
Maybe
and that's it for me, brother. That's it.